4K video is great. The quality is amazing, you can do a lot with it, your videos will look spectacular, but working with 4K video can be difficult. They're large video files which can take a long time to load, they can lag, and it makes it pretty difficult sometimes to edit with it in Adobe Premiere. So today I'm going to show you how to edit with proxy files, which is going to save you a lot of time when you're editing your video. So first things first, you go into Adobe Premiere and you're going to make a new project. So I'm just going to call this Test Proxy. And then under Ingest Settings, click on that. Check the box that says Ingest and change it from Copy to Create Proxies. What this will do is instead of importing the 4K video into your project, it's going to create a proxy file, which is a video that's a smaller file, smaller quality, which is also going to allow it to load faster and allow you to edit more quickly. You can change the preset to whatever you want. Typically the 1024 by 540 works okay. You can change it to some other video sizes if you prefer, but that 1020 by 540 will work fine. Again, it's not going to impact your final project. It just gives you a smaller file to work with. Go ahead and hit OK. And that will open up your Adobe Premiere project. I'm going to make sure to click on Editing up here. Now normally you would go into your bin window in the lower left corner and double click and import the file. That's not going to work for this because again, we're not importing the file, we're creating a proxy. So instead, go to your media browser and then you're going to navigate to where those files live. So mine just so happened to live under Sandberg's, Users. It's kind of a long walk to get there, so I apologize. It's on my desktop and it is under TV Mini Bootcamp, April 2019, and all of my files live in there. And you can see they're already kind of taking a long time to load because they're such big video files. So to create a proxy, you're going to find the clips that you want, and let's just say that we want a few of these clips right here. So we'll say these 4 clips. So we'll highlight those 4, and we're going to Control click and go to Import. And you'll see it'll say it's importing the files. And sometimes that can take a little bit depending on how big the files are. But once it's done importing those files, something important is going to happen. It's actually going to bring up Adobe Media Encoder. And if it doesn't bring it up in a moment, it will. Just be patient. I personally already have mine open. So it'll come up. And you'll see it start to appear here in the queue in just a moment. And there we can see those files are already coming in. What's going on is that Adobe Media Encoder is going to take that 4K file and it's going to encode it with the settings that we wanted for that proxy file. So it's going to encode it at that 1024 by 540 preset. In fact, if I expand the window a little bit, we can even see the fact that it's creating a proxy file. You can even see proxy. And it is going to import that video, and sometimes that can take a little bit. You can even see down here on the status how long it's going to take before it's actually done. So about a minute or so. So we're going to pause here for a moment and then jump ahead in time when that proxy is finished being encoded. Okay, thanks for sticking with me. We've now jumped forward in time. My clips have finished converting with the Adobe Media Encoder, so we're going to minimize that and go back into Adobe Premiere. So what you want to do is make sure that you create a new sequence. So go to File, New, Sequence. And again, it doesn't really matter what presets you give it because Premiere will allow you to automatically change the sequence settings to match the video settings. So it doesn't really matter for me what I'm going to click on right now. I'm just going to hit OK. Creates that new sequence here, sequence 2. I'm going to drag a clip onto the timeline. It's going to say, do you want to change the sequence's settings? Yes, we do. We want to change the sequence settings to match the 4K video that we're working with here. Change sequence settings. So if you notice, we're still working in 4K. If you try to play it, it's going to be kind of laggy. It's going to be kind of slow. It's not really what we want. But here's the next step. Underneath your program window, you have a series of buttons. A button that you're looking for is one called Toggle Proxies. If you don't see that, click on the button editor, that little plus icon right next to it, and you're going to look for the Toggle Proxies button. It'll show up when you hover over it, and click and drag it onto your menu bar. Mine happens to already be on there. when you click toggle proxies, you notice that the video quality and size has changed. Now it's not in that 4K quality that we shot it in, it's in a smaller quality, so that when you play it now,
we really want to have a model where we have backup yet?
Right? It plays a little bit better. In fact, I'm also playing this in full resolution. If I bring that down to a quarter resolution, this is going to be a lot faster. So now we're able to work with this a lot better. In fact, anything you bring up into the preview window over here will also be in that down converted quality. It's going to make it a lot faster when you edit your project. So continue to edit as normal. Make sure that you've toggled your proxies on so that it doesn't take up a lot of time and a lot of lagging to get that 4K video. And then when you export your video file, so File, Export, Media, it's also Command M, it'll bring up your export window, and you can still export it in that high quality, H.264, get it in 4K. That's great. You can even see that the final aspect ratio is going to be 3840 by 2160. So it's what we want in 60 frames per second. So it doesn't matter what you edit in terms of whether you're using a proxy or not, you're still exporting in that nice high quality video file. Then you just export as normal. So that's a trick for working with 4K video to save yourself a lot of time when you're editing.